just want you to sit in your chair and go hip hip hooray for the Western press and the Western narrative, regurgitating the same old, same old, same old every single day without the Please watch the first series, the first 2 episodes, the second series. Look at that.
Absolutely fascinating.
And it was the first time the Beatles had really stopped being semi-professional almost.
Good evening, everyone. It's Anthony and Michelle here talking about God knows what. We talk about everything until you start commenting, and then we go off on a tangent. Then by whatever you say, we try
to follow it, don't we?
Exactly. So it could be anything. It's part history, it's part literature. And, I'd even want to know. I think everybody in the world, I mean this, should hold a book and read it rather than watch a film on the telly, an adaptation. What do you say to that, Anthony?
I think you're exactly right. Because unless you've done that, we go a lot about using the brain cells and doing crosswords and doing whatever to keep the brain active. If you read a book and that takes you on a journey, really, that a film and a TV program doesn't. And you've been mentioning this particular piece of work to me for a while, and I watched it, I read it, and read it again immediately. Read it again because it paints the picture, and you read it again because you think, have I got that right? The theme of it is eternal, almost a divide, a difference between classes, but the story itself is riveting, absolutely sensational. I loved it.
And let's go ahead and tell them what the title is.
Mr. Loveday's Little Outing.
And the point is as well, it's just set after the First World War. We won't go too much into it because I'd love the people to read this. It's a short story. It's by Evelyn Waugh. And automatically you'll get it right after the First World War, because what you see, what it's described, is men in long grey coats wandering about. And the long grey coats are former soldiers from the First World War. Yeah. And that's where you get your... this is where you get your time and place, if you like. Right after the First World War. And it's really good, isn't it? As Ali said, I read it. I had to read it again to see if I missed something.
Yeah.
Tell you what kind of a short story it is.
Oh, the genius. And I know our greats did it. I know, Charles Dickens made his early name by writing periodicals. But it's a wonderful gift to know what to leave out, i.e. not to make 400 pages and to do it in such a short story. And you are gripped. I I firmly believe any of our chat family tonight would be gripped. I have actually got a PDF version of it, which I found after I read the book. The book which you kindly loaned me is this. Penguin are one of the most respected story compilers ever.
Publishers, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, Christopher Jolly, who put them in,
yeah,
he's fantastic about short stories. He's done a few books and that. And to it's not just Mr. Loveday's little outing. It's other stories as well, which is riveting. And
yes.
one of the stories, I think it's in that one, Anthony, or the other one that I didn't know. I'm not quite so sure, but I think it's in that one. It's called The Signal Man by
Yes,
Charles Dickens.
it's in that one, Frank. And
There
yes,
you go.
bang on the nail. That is, I would put that on a par with Mr. Loveday's little outing.
Yeah.
It's really, really good. And there's another one which I read the first couple of lines of, but I didn't want to get into until we talked to our chat family, which is one by H.G. Wells, which is called The Country of the Blind.
Yeah.
You
It's
can't help
incredible, that, isn't it?
but associate that with Shakespeare and also with
Yes.
what's going on now.
Do you mean his quote?
As a quote and a title. You
Yeah.
know.
It's
Well,
incredible. So, that's just a bit of advice of Anthony and myself. Christopher Dolly's Penguin Publishing, Christopher Dolly's short stories. Absolutely brilliant.
he compiles
Yes, he compiles them.
the greatest stories.
So it's like what you said, that particular story could have been that thick, if you know what I mean. And it was, Evil and War,
Yeah.
their size.
Have revisited.
Yeah, so he was like a poet.
Yeah.
See, poets condense big stories.
Yeah.
Don't they?
Which is a gift, isn't it? It's remarkable. And I find the hardest thing would be to do that to your own work. Now, if you've written the Frank Carlyle retrospective of Charles Dickens's life, it will be at least 400 pages because the information is there. Could be, and then someone says, we need that, to put in a Sunday magazine. Or it's hard, I think, to do that to yourself.
Well, little Lauren, she's just said, "Good evening, Frank. This is just before," and she said, "I'm going to shower now. I've just got back from the gym." Our little Lauren.
Keep warm, Lauren, because it is Baltic.
I think, yes, Baltic here. And TW. Evening, Frank and Anthony.
Evening, TW.
And little Lynn Ellis.
Oh.
Evening, Frank and Anthony.
Good evening, Linda. Christopher.
Hi, Frank and Anthony, and everyone like and subscribe. Thank you. Christopher always says that man.
Yeah.
And Lauren says, before she's going for a shower, good evening, Frank and Anthony.
Good evening, Lauren. Good evening, one and all. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, because there's so much to say. Excuse me.
Well, that short story to me totally underlined what you've been saying to us. Read the book. Read it first. Because your mind paints the pictures, and kind of it's tricked because it goes one way, and then the story ends goes another way. That's why I read it twice.
Do you
And
know? No, I was. You surprised me when you said that. I didn't have to read it again
yeah,
because I. This is through this. I think I've mentioned this before. I'm not quite so sure. And I remember I must have been about 30, if that. No, I must have been. Must have been a little bit younger. Yeah, in my 20s, say mid 20s to late 20s. And I was in my grandmother's. I was staying there for a while. And I'm lying on the couch as you do, and I'm reading. And I'll tell you what, this is absolute genuine. Genuine. As I said, I'm lying on the couch. I'm reading The Moon's a Balloon by David Niven,
ah,
right? And I'm
yeah,
laughing my head off.
yeah.
And I'm looking over at me. My grandmother keeps looking over at me, like. So anyway, I fell asleep. And she had a friend come in. And she said to her friend, like he's just drowsing out. And she said to her friend, I'm getting worried about Francis. She said, well, she said, he's reading a book there and he's laughing to himself.
Oh,
So years later, and I'm talking years later, I go to Italy, right? Now, I used to bring books with me, always did, but you'd always find libraries, people bringing books and leaving them, if you know what I mean.
yeah,
And anyway, I was going to bring a book, and I said, I'll leave it. And I seen this, genuine this, right? I seen this book. I was in town and I was walking around, and there's a second-hand bookstore up in Mount Pleasant,
yeah.
and I walked in there, and there's the moon, the balloon. The moon's a balloon, and it was only like 50p. And I said, "Oh, I'll get that. I'll bring it away."
Got it on that shelf.
Have you got it? Right?
Well, since the wow, since the late 70s, we should explain to our chatters that this is a autobiography.
It is an autobiography.
The great, absolutely wonderful actor and wonderful gentleman,
Was a gentleman.
and just two names come to mind around that. One is Peter Ustinov, who's a great raconteur, great storyteller, and David Niven, who just by describing, his day-to-day life, will have you the way you were. Beautiful.
Well, that's it. No, I've read David Niven's It's Only Me as autobiography. Hilarious. Hilarious. But anyway, I goes away, right? So I brings this, The Moon's a Balloon, with me to Italy. And around the pool, I was in Sorrento. And anyway, you've got to get a hotel with a pool. But the pool was full this day. I went, oh, fuck. So anyway, goes up on the roof where you could lounge about, there's deck chairs, not deck chairs, Paris, whatever the fuck. So anyway, it goes up there, and I was with my one then, and reading away, we're talking, we're lying down, and great, and whatever. And we were the only ones up there in this corner, in a corner. And she said to me, do you fancy some lunch now? I said, yeah, come on. And yeah, just lay the towel down, put my book down. Right. Goes and has, through this, goes and has lunch. Comes back from lunch. And as we walk to our, like beds, lounges, there's a lady, an old lady at the back of me, right? And in the corner, the whole of the place is empty, except for, where we were, this little corner. And there was an old lady behind us. No, she wasn't there. Before we went to lunch, we were the only ones up there. Anyway, she was there. And I walked up to my bed, to my lounger. And I looked at this lady, and honest, it's like this, and it's like this. She's reading a book. Just like that, she's reading it. And I say to her, "Excuse me." And she goes, "Yes." I said, "You're reading my book?" And she said, "I'm reading your book." "No, I'm not." I said, "You are." I said, "Can I have it, please?" And she said, "No, I'm not reading your book. Do you understand English?" She said to me. And I said, "Yes, I do. I am English." I said, "Can I have my book back?" Because what she was reading, Anthony, is your book a blue cover? Can you remember? Is your book, your copy that you've got, The Moon's a Balloon?
I remember it being kind of off-whitish with some sort of illustration on it, but I couldn't tell you what it is.
Well, anyway, it was blue, nice blue. But I got out what I had in the beginning in my grandmother's, and then what I seen years and years later in the bookshop, it was blue, right? So I brought her, and this lady was reading The Moon's a Balloon, blue cover. And I went, and she said to me, my one at the time, leave it. Just let her read it. I went, "Yeah." And do you know what? I went to take it off her, and she pulled it. She said, "How dare you?" I said, "Oh, I'll just read it then. It's no problem there. No problem whatsoever." Went over to my bed, got my towel to shake it. There's my book there. I put my towel over the book. And it's only been there 2 days. 2 days. And I always go away for a couple of weeks. And it grovels every day to that woman.
Oh my God. My God. I mean, we're talking about the power of literature packing a punch. But my God, you mugging old ladies.
Oh, shocking. And it grovels it. And, she was really, But anyway, at the end of the holiday, she said, "You don't have to apologise every day." I said, "Okay." I said, "I am sorry for that interlude." I said, "It was just a coincidence that," and she said, "Yes." And she said, "I did find it very amusing." And I said, "Oh, thanks, you've relieved me." And she said, "No, the book itself was very amusing." And I went, "Oh, okay then." They're the things about literature, about books, about it. No, you couldn't do that with a video, could you? If you know what I mean, or a DVD or anything. You can't. It's a book. I must have been the only one who had that experience.
No. I mean, it's a different thing with different people, but I find books quite precious, really.
Of
Someone will
course.
say, "Oh, what are you reading there? Give it here, give it here." Let's have a look. And I'm saying, "No, golf, no." It's that thing because once you're in the midst of something, once you are engrossed in something, it's special, isn't it? I mean, we now go to not so much these days, but we'll go to the pictures, the movies, and watch a film and be touched or shocked or outraged or whatever. And you find that when we all walk out in a mass, it's like, geez, did you see that? What did you think? Well, so we're all talking. Um, a book is a more solitary thing because it's a personal thing, journey. And I know you and I have talked about it, and a lot of our chat family have talked about it. The idea of going to bed when we were kids and the secrecy, pulling the cover over it and having a little torch just to read. And
Yeah.
it's like journey of discovery, you know. And it's possibly only 9:45 at night when we were kids, and your mum's banging on the door saying, "You're not still awake, are you?" And you go, "No."
No. No. Turn the lights. Turn the. Do you know this is true? This talking about books. Our Jared, he was reading. This is absolutely genuine as well. Our Jared's an avid reader. He's like ourselves, just reads everything. And he was reading The Exorcist, right? He was reading it.
Yeah,
Anyway, he goes to Lou and he's sitting there and it comes across about these lights in the book itself, flickering and exploding, right? He said, I'm sitting there and reading
yeah.
it. He said, and the lights, he said, the bulb came out the socket. He said, I can't down. He said, I'm going in. He said, the bed's on myself. Rushing out. Rushing out. I said, did you carry on reading? He said, no. He said, I threw it out. That was The Exorcist. It's
I do read that book. They used to do a wonderful thing. I don't think they do it now. Maybe they do. I don't know. But when there's a big movie going to be released, the publishers make sure the book is out. So I got to read Jaws before the film came out. I got to read Exorcist, but I never went and I've never seen the film. But the book was great. But Jaws was bad enough. I wouldn't get a bath for a fortnight afterwards. My mum was saying, "Get a bath." Oh,
now, there's a thing. There's a thing. Now, I know people who have never read it, Jaws. And I just seen this title. I don't know where, it's somewhere in town, And anyway, there wasn't a bookshop either, but I seen the title, took it like down, looked at it, I went, oh, that sounds interesting. Because I read the synopsis, always read the synopsis. Anyway, I purchased it, went home, read it, found it thoroughly entertaining, actually. And then the film came out a year later.
yeah.
And I thought, hang on a minute. After seeing the film, because the film is different from the book. And this is where you have to be careful about films
Yes.
and the adaptation of the film from the book.
Yeah. Interesting point. I know we've talked with certainly Johan and our chatters about the adaptations of Stephen King's
Yeah.
I became fascinated with his stories, and I used to, I'd earn a bit of money and I'd buy a book. Every couple of months, a book would come out. But I never felt that the film adaptations were close to the book. Now, years and years later, I read an article in a magazine, Sunday magazine, whatever, and Stephen King felt the same. So he was one of the first writers to say, "I want to be on the set when you're filming this, or to do my own screenplays of
Yeah,
my."
the screenplays would be better by him because he wants it right to the content of the book, doesn't he?
Yeah,
But
which
he's made some unusual. Well, he's written some unusual ones that have been turned into TV films. One was called The Langoliers,
yeah,
and that was weird. That was a weird film about a plane taking off, and then loads of passengers, and there was this fella. He had to go back to Boston. He was an airline pilot himself because his dad was dying, or he had died, or something like that. And he asks at the desk if there's a free seat. He said, "I've got to get back to Boston." And he said, "Yeah, there's one up there. You're okay." Because he works for the airline, you see.
yeah.
So anyway, he goes on. David Morse, the actor David Morse, who I think is a great actor. Anyway, he goes on it. They fly out, and then all of a sudden they fall asleep. There's just these main characters, about 7 of them, main characters. And everyone else, even including the pilots and co-pilots, and the navigation fella, they all, disappear. As I said, the main characters fall asleep. And there's no one about, when they wake up. There's nobody about, and they're saying, "What's happened? What's happened?" They don't know what's happened. So they go to the cockpit, the pilots, and they couldn't get in. But anyway, they finally got in, and there's no pilots, no navigator, no nothing. And it was good. But I read that particular book again years ago. But the Langoliers is like, I'm sure he must have done the screenplay. I never bothered to look, actually, and I always look at the credits. And he must have, because it was right to the content of the book, The Langoliers.
I just love. He's the modern version of what I imagine Dickens would have been like in the times of motion pictures.
Yeah.
He would do stuff, and his first books would have come out, and he kind of fall short. And as we know, lots and lots of books do. And until you get that power, till you've done a series of books and you've been acclaimed, then you're not going to get on the set of a movie.
No.
To say, Frank doesn't look like that.
Yeah.
Frank will look like this and do this. All of those things that ultimately mean a lot.
No, you're right. You're right. And we were talking about David Niven before, and the camera's like that. Yes, Frank says TW. It was blue, a blue cover. Oh, Jesus, no wonder.
Yeah.
Up there, Anyway,
Yeah.
Niven is looking up at 4 balloons with the name of the title on each balloon.
Brilliant. Thank you, TW. I shall scour the shelves tomorrow for the blue book.
And Owen Lee says, even if Frank Anthony in chat, hope everyone is well. Thank you, Owen, for joining us.
Thanks, Owen. We're good, thank you.
And Johan,
Oh,
good evening, Frank, and international artist Mr. Brown, and this scotch is for you.
thank you, Johan. We'll share them.
I tell you what, I wouldn't be sitting on a park bench tonight. It's
No.
absolutely bolted.
Oh my God, absolutely Baltic, 7 o'clock this morning, and it's not improved a bit, yeah. Well, once again, we've kind of been lucky to avoid the severe stuff which is hitting.
I know. I was absolutely freezing today. Just lying in bed, you know what I mean? And I was even cold in bed. That's how cold it was.
Yeah.
It's just, I hate the cold weather.
Yeah. No, I'm not good. Is it?
And that's why I'm in pain, I think. Because when I went to the doctors, he said, the doctor said, oh, was it a woman doctor? I'm not quite sure. I see all different kinds of doctors. And said, well, with the weather, the cold weather, it doesn't help. You know, your pain.
No, it
doesn't help at all. Because it gets into your bones, doesn't it? It gets into your muscles, and if you've got anything, like bang, you know.
Doesn't have sleep either, does it?
Yeah. And Owen says, my heart goes out to the homeless in this weather.
Oh, absolutely right, correct. Yes.
I think about them every night. I really do, you know. I've always said, you know, I don't know whether it's habit or what. I really don't. I can't tell you. I can't define it, actually. But I say 2 prayers every night, and I have done since I was a child. 2 prayers. And, you know, I bring people into my mind. What I'm sure, you know, like this group here, our chatters, I bring them into mind.
Yeah.
I bring a few people as well, and I bring the homeless in as well.
Yeah.
And I bring the peace people as well, you know, the peace, because the way it is in the world. So I bring them into my little prayers. And as I said, I bring the homeless because it's so sad. It's so sad. And some people, do you know years ago, genuine this, me and my mate were walking down Renshaw Street. And we're walking down, I forget where we went somewhere. I don't know where we went. And we were walking down. And back in the day, they were known as tramps.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, so sorry. And we just said hello to him, you know, and he went, hello. And what got me instantly was the way he said hello. And it wasn't like hello or anything like that. It was hello. And we started talking to this fella. Started talking to him.
Yeah.
And do you know what he was? Well, ex now. And alcohol got him. And it just, you know, his marriage disintegrated. And he had to leave the marital home. And he just became homeless. He had no family, nothing to rely on. And as I said, he's telling us he was an alcoholic. And he said, this is the way I am today. Unfortunately, very posh he was. Do you know what he was?
Sounds like a teacher.
He was an architect.
Wow.
He was an architect.
Wow.
And you think, oh, an architect became an alcoholic. His marriage disintegrated. He left his home. He had no. He said that he had nobody. Nobody he could rely on or go to, and he just became homeless, just like that. And that's what he was. He was a tramp. I said, "Are you from Liverpool?" Like, He said, "No." He came from, I think, down south somewhere. Forget now. Down south somewhere, and he just roams around the country. You might think, he was pulling your leg or whatever, and he wasn't. You could tell that he wasn't because of his accent.
Yeah, I don't at all feel that. I think this is one of the beauties of television when it was good British television, because the initial documentaries, the likes of World in Action and stuff like that, John Pillinger, would bring you factual stuff that was going on. And I remember watching the documentary, and it was a similar thing, but there was a very well spoken, very well educated chap who was living in a graveyard. He had nothing, similar to. I mean, the the thing I see from the being an architect is a very high stress um, level of work. I mean, our dear friend Gareth, who we recently lost, he 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 was in a position where so many other people under you are reliant on what you draw and what you do, because their wages are guaranteed by what the firm earn. The stress levels go through the roof. Thankfully, Gareth didn't have any of the drink issues, but it's so,
Issues, yeah.
so easily done, so easily.
Of course it is. You know, when I was younger, I started knocking around with this girl. She was a lovely girl, and she'd been married. I didn't know she'd been married. Like, she didn't look like that old enough to be married. Anyway, um, her husband became an alcoholic,
Yeah,
and she said he started becoming abusive. She said, I had to get rid of him. And she said he was a lovely lad. We were at school together and whatever. And we ended up getting married. But the marriage only lasted 10 months because little did she know that he was a secretive alcoholic. He drank secretly.
yeah.
You find out of it like during your courting days or anything? She said, no, didn't know. Didn't know.
So common.
I said, you must have smelled like alcohol on him. She said, no, he drank vodka, which doesn't give off a vapor.
Yeah,
A smell.
yeah.
That's all he drank.
It
And
is.
she found like a couple of bottles of vodka, one half full and one full. She was doing washing, she said. And that's when the abuse started, because he was found out, you see.
Yeah.
And the abuse started, and she just got shot.
It's a horrible thing, Frank, and there, for the grace of God, go all of us. I mean, I have been, when Laney and I have been at our most stressful uh, points, and I've got to finish something at 7 o'clock the next morning. There's a point in time where a cup of tea doesn't do it, and I take my hat off to anyone who gets through that. And it's just a way of life, because it demands on people, and more so now than when we were kids, because you're working for far less money the hours are longer. You've got to deliver all the time. It's that thing, deliver. Whatever you do, deliver. Be on the job there, bang.
That's it. It's as simple as that. I'm lucky in ways myself personally. I love going out for a drink, but only to socialise. That was it, going out and smashing, going to pubs. Just loved it. But, I couldn't become reliant on it. Alcohol. I
No,
couldn't. I just
no,
couldn't.
no.
Maybe it's in the makeup of your body, if you know what I mean. But
It's,
why are we talking about alcoholics?
well,
Unfortunately, there's so many.
because I think it drives an engine. Alcohol. What we're describing with people and that particular gentleman you describe, that happens to writers because there we've talked about it before, and there's Dickens, and we would say at the height of his powers, his ability to create magic, and his publisher said, "Your book's not doing too good there, Charles. So unless you pull your finger out, write a good book that people want to buy, we're going to dock your wages." This is
And you
Dickens.
wouldn't think that he was on a wage, would you, Charles Dickens?
No,
But
because
that's what. So,
obviously in the printing, in the publishing, and the music, and the acting fraternity, what happens is, and the arts, is that you get paid on delivery of what you do if it's good. So you worked 4 months to produce something, and then you say, "No, I'm not paying for that." You go away, work another 4 months, and then at a point, they add more pressure by saying, "If you don't deliver us a book which is going to be brilliant and everyone wants to buy, we're going to dock your money." Well, they don't give a stuff if you say, "My wife's just had our fifth baby, you know, my dad's not well, my mum's not well, whatever. Just just do it, just deliver." That's what drives us to
do you
Dickens
know?
too. He
Do you know
walked.
what? Do you know yesterday? You know who I was talking to? I was talking to. Remember the fella who let me down for the last 2 years to do a thing?
Yeah,
Hey, I was talking to this chap yesterday. A friend of mine introduced him to me, and I was talking to him yesterday. And it'll be going. You know what I want to leave? I want to leave a legacy.
yes,
And I was talking to him yesterday, and he's coming down to meet me in the next week or two. With, me mate, he's going to bring him down. Good friend of mine, and it's all go ahead for the summer.
fantastic. That's fantastic. That's what you do.
Absolutely made up. I'm absolutely made up.
That's brilliant. That is going to be absolutely fantastic.
It will be. It will.
Sit
And that
down.
will be your legacy.
You do what you do best. You be you. Yeah, fantastic.
TW say, sorry, Frank, I keep forgetting to put on the caps. Do you know, T?
Con.
Thanks. My old friend Karen. Good evening, Frank, Anthony, and chat. Hope everyone is well. Keep warm too. Are you kidding me? So I've
Yeah,
got this thing on. It's freezing.
I've got the fire on. Just took my overcoat and my hat off.
Do you know what? Genuine. I've got a thing there. I'll show you. I've got a thing there. And have you ever seen a picture of Scott of the Antarctic? You know, they took a picture, didn't they, a selfie like, and you just see
Yeah.
them all standing there. They're all like that, right?
Yeah.
I've got
Yeah.
this thing, and I was going to wear it, you know, in here because it's that cold, right?
Mm.
And I said, I can't wear that. I look like Scott because I'll show you, show you,
Uh,
show you the bloody thing. Hang on a minute. It's only here. Take a look. It's a hoodie, right? It's a hoodie, but the colour of it and everything. There's the hood.
that's okay.
Look like a little polar bear. Look,
I'll blend into the decor.
God blimey, but it's dead warm. I do wear it in the living room, you know. I do
Yeah.
wear it in the living room.
Yeah.
Open that no one knocks. No one knocks anyway. But God blimey, it's warm. You know what I mean? I've got these big things, you know, big house coats and that. I do
Need,
wear them in the
need to.
house.
Yeah. And I've wear that as well. Don't worry. I mean, we'd always phone it up. And if it's a struggle to get it off, just say, "I'll come back in an hour."
It's fucking freezing. And Johan says, is it the drone video you are? Yeah. I tell you what, Johan, genuine mate. If you ever come back to England from the heat of India, I'd love to see you and talk to you. Really, mean that. Really. And anyone else on here.
Yeah.
What's that? I can't see these little gifs, you know.
Oh, it's a little cold, freezing cold emoji.
Oh, right, okay. Thank
I
you,
just
Cal.
keep it in. Yeah, Karen. Yeah, it is, Karen. It is one of them days. It's poorly.
Yeah. Hi, Frank and Anthony. Hi, chat. Hope you don't mind. I'm sleepy, so I'm listening but not typing. He must be magic. Did you hear
That's
what he said then?
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sleepy, but I'm not typing.
Like
How did that message come up there?
a Stephen King story.
He must dream about us.
Mm.
Uh,
Keep warm and fall asleep. No problems.
Karen says, I'm going to knock at yours just to see you wearing that outfit. Honestly. Like, it goes down just past my knees, the thing. And I was looking at Scott in the Antarctic, you know, because you know that I look at ducks and that.
Yeah.
And I said, I look like him. You know, only it's a different colour. I like that. But you see, you know, like the likes of the history is. Oh, look at that! Look what our friend says here. Yo, I need to send you a Russian sheepskin Ushanka hat from Moscow when I'm there. At this point, I've extended my stay in Asia for a bit. They might Galloway me if I came back from Russia. No, they won't, mate. No, they won't Galloway you, honestly, because you know that, like George, he just gives out the truth. He gives out the truth, Johan. And unfortunately, people are being ostracized for it. and it's shocking. And he's an ex-MP. He's an
Yeah.
ex-MP of the British Parliament,
Yeah.
and
Well,
all of a sudden, he's been. I think he's been in China, the past few weeks, and I think he's back in Russia, Moscow.
yeah,
He can't come back to there. He's exiled himself, and it's shocking.
it is
The way,
shocking. It is. But anyone, as we know, we're talking history, and we're talking history and literature. But anyone who pops their head up and is eloquent about the truth, get rid of him, get rid of her, quieten them.
but
George,
it's Anthony, the way it is. Do you know? Can I ask you something? Do you like Tchaikovsky?
yes,
Okay, his music, right? Do you like any of the likes of these great playwrights like Chekhov, for example? You
yes,
know, great playwrights,
yeah,
great Solzhenitsyn,
yeah,
Leo Tolstoy, great
absolutely.
literature kings, and yes, they're bloody everything literature has been and music has been banned. Did you know that?
Yeah, which is a crazy westernized racism. It's like everyone who's white were banned, everyone who's green, blue, black. It's absolutely insane. And George Galloway did a piece a while ago which I caught on social media. I caught a few, and he was talking about Dickens, and he was in a park in China, and there was a beautiful statue to Dickens in the park. We're
Just,
all, we're all,
just
we're all, we're all overlapped. We're all the same. You know, we all appreciate great things, and as you said, the writers, the musicians, Russian musicians, classical from way back are extraordinary. Tchaikovsky and everyone is just we we
Sokovic.
the Westerners will pack out any theatre with Swan Lake or anything of the classics. We're not a
Well, the
thought.
ballet, that's the problem with the West. The problem with the West is, especially America. America makes everybody an enemy of the state, of their states, that is. And we've got to comply with what the Americans or the American ideology. We have to comply with that. Now, the point is, the Bolshoi ballet started in Russia.
Yeah,
It's a Russian thing.
yeah,
Yeah. Now, is the hypocrisy of everything? Um, they banned the literature, they banned everything. Everything Russian they banned. Yet, ballet is still going on.
packs out houses.
Because it's
Yeah,
English or American or, ballet or Australian, New Zealand or German or French or the Netherlands or Spanish or Portuguese, whatever, they're allowed to, do the ballet. That's Russian. That's hypocrisy.
yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Because they have banned the Bolshoi ballet because the Bolshoi ballet is the best in the world and they tour the globe
yeah,
and people want to see it. Yet they won't ban the ballet. And another thing which is very hypocritical is the Americans and the space age. Now, there's only one space station because the Americans can't do it. No one else can do it. Yet the Russians built a space station, and they still allow American astronauts to go into the Mir in space. You see what I mean?
Yes, I do.
It's total hypocrisy.
Yes.
And there's Russia. Sorry, there's America. They're doing a proxy war in Ukraine. And yet they put sanctions on Russia. They all keep putting sanctions on Russia. Guess what? Which is absolutely ridiculous. The Russians, do you know the whole of Europe and America, they import wheat from Russia. Russia says, yeah, no, have I? Yeah. They import, I'm talking about the EU as well, by the way. Yeah. And without Russia's help about wheat, you wouldn't be able to go out and buy yourself a loaf any day of the week. Everything could stop. You'd be waiting. And that applies to America. You know, America's, they're always saying they're self-sufficient. They can't do without wheat. They can't do without a hell of a lot of things. Yeah. So you see, it's just hypocrisy. I'm afraid.
I totally get that.
But anyway, you mentioned Charles Dickens, the statue of him in America, in China.
Yeah.
And as you said, we're all in the same bed for fucking books, you know what I mean? We're all in the same bed, if you know what I mean. You know what I mean? We're all a book, look, you read it. We're all in the same bed because you've got great writers writing things. You've got great quotes. As Leo Tolstoy said, history would be a wonderful thing if it was true. Now, someone would go, man, what's he talking about? And they don't dig deep, because what he's actually said is, it'll be a wonderful thing if it was true, because what you read, you're not reading properly. You're reading propaganda. That's what he meant.
That's right. I know, totally get that. My latest edition came today.
Look at the man. Oh, God bless.
Big book. But I tell you what, this is the crazy thing that's going on as well, because I can't get that in the shops in town, because Laney's tried for 6 months. So we get it online. I bought it for 13 quid, $13.99, because it's a paperback. And today, it took a week to arrive. Today, the same book is $19.99. Everything is going up to levels. The hardback of it is 43 quid. So it's like we're being priced out of certain parts of literature.
Oh, of course we are. Listen, there's a book called let me think what it's called. Oh, fuck it now. I'm sorry to swear.
That was French, wasn't it?
I think my mind's gone. God. It begins with a B. And it's The Bisley Boy. I keep forgetting. The Bisley Boy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you think that you're being, you just said you think you're being priced out of things. Wait till I tell you about this book. This book is 30 odd quid. Now, come on. Can any of us afford, to go in and, buy a book for 30 odd quid? A paperback.
Not
Right?
many. Yeah.
Not many. Not many. Do you know what it's about? The Bisley Boy.
No.
It's about, you're going to love this. And you're going to go, that's why it's dear. It's about Elizabeth I.
The truth.
The truth. And it's written by an aristocrat. And Owen says Jewish Bolshevism destroyed it. It did, actually. You're right there, Owen. Spot on. Spot on. Because this is a history show, by the way. And no, you're so right, Owen Lee. Brilliant. And Johan says Ukraine used to be known as the breadbasket of Europe before they allowed to be bombed to low fertility, so that black rock can buy the ruins. Yes, but it depends on where you see. I know that Russia with the oblasts, when they had a referendum and they said, do you want to be in Ukraine or do you want to be here in the Russian Federation? And they all said they voted overwhelmingly to be in the Russian Federation. So they have the minerals. And this is why they're still trying to say, well, we'll have a freeze so BlackRock could go in and take everything. No, you're not going to do it, BlackRock.
No.
It's shocking what BlackRock are like.
Yeah, they've been sold away into the NHS here.
And exactly. And Johan says, Queen Elizabeth, Bisley Boy, yes. Yes. And Stephen, I'm sorry I haven't yet. But, don't worry. I'll be sending it over as well to Anthony because we will be having a reading out our poems that we've done. I'm talking about our chatters as well. And Johan, I knew it, the Bisley Boy. Johan, you've got to read it. You have to read it. And Polo says, hi, Frank and Anthony. Sorry I'm late. It's all right. Never be sorry to Frank or Anthony.
And never late.
Is there in the English language? Anthony, there's no such word as sorry in the English language to us.
No, there isn't. No need for apologies.
And our lovely Lauren, is it Lauren or Lauren?
Lauren.
It'll be Lauren, won't it? Lauren Bianchi, Hollywood star with that name.
That is a absolutely red flag name to me, Hollywood. There's
It's a red flag to me. Is
a documentary film come out, which I've not seen yet. I will watch it and we'll talk about it. And I think our chatters need to talk. It's literally about how Hollywood gets away with rape, murder, and it's one particular lady, and this is her story. Oh wow! I was. I didn't know anything. Never heard this lady's name, who was a dancer when she was a youngster, and her whole life was destroyed by those that have all got kind of got the same name. And in old age, she was contacted by a writer who was also a filmmaker who didn't know she was alive, and he said, "I was going to write your story." So they became friends, and the writer wrote the story, turned it into a documentary, and it's out there now. And I get more details, and then I bang it all to
Oh, that'll
everyone.
be good, that, because you know me, and these. I'll just go through these, and I'll come right back to that actually. And the lovely Lauren says, "Hi, I'm back, Frank and Anthony. Good for you. Made up that you joined us. I'm made up that you joined us." And Polo says, "Frank, which modern day writers do you enjoy? Get back to that as well." And Owen Lee, the old Elizabethan switcheroo. What a man.
Yeah, nice one, Owen.
Owen, have you read The Bisley Boy? That's a cracker, that. And our lovely Lauren says, "I don't like Hollywood either, Anthony." Well, this is Lauren. How's Max? I hope you're looking after Max, you know. No wonder they call it Peterwood. Yes. Look,
Yes,
there are some horrible people. And I read about Kirk Douglas.
yeah.
He was a horror. He was a horror. And he brought, I keep forgetting her name. And they were doing a film, and this girl went missing, this actress. Just went missing. They still haven't found her today. And he took her out, never to be seen again.
You know.
Not only that, but he also, um, Natalie Wood,
Yes. When she
what
was
happened to that girl with him?
when she was 14,
Yes,
the child.
yes. And her sister wrote about him. She said, "I hate him. I hate him."
They have they've had since the very conception. They've had fixers who make things disappear. You know, so there's no case to answer, Frank.
No,
Don't worry about it. Nothing to worry about.
no.
We've made it
Well,
go, and so that's
well,
that 1920.
well, of
Right.
course, yeah, of course. They look after the stars, you see. If anyone's making, it's like anything. If anyone makes you money, you look after them.
Well,
It's
it's
a simple.
this is the big, and it will come out in literature. It's been written now, and people, but it's just getting it out because unfortunately, the same people that own the Hollywood industry own the publishing industry and the music industry, and guess what? The art industry. So everything is owned by
Well,
these.
you've experienced the art industry. I just want to say what Laura says. Max as well, but he likes biting. Laura, watch out for Max
What's a dog or a crocodile?
and his biting.
Okay.
Yes, you know what? See, look, the likes of Hollywood, even in, if they're doing a book, they like to adapt things to make it their story, so to speak. They can't make the stories up themselves, the script writers, and they copy a hell of a lot of other, countries' films or whatever, and throw it in. And people will say, "Oh, that was great, that film." Well, yeah, it's plagiarized. It's plagiarized.
Yeah.
And Johann Epstein, according to the mainstream media, is now being referred to as a power broker stroke fixer. Even the sciences are infiltrated by the degenerates. Of course.
Absolutely.
What did I tell you? I said, honestly, when I found out that he had died in prison, that he hanged himself, I said, he's not dead. He's not dead.
Well,
And people... Go on.
This is the thing we're talking about. It's not one guy. It's not one guy. Don't put... I'm talking about the media. Don't put everything on that one guy. He's a cog in a wheel. Hollywood is part of the same wheel. It's been rolling since the 20s. People die, people gone missing, lives are ruined. Walked along.
Exactly. Let's go through these. I want to get back to that, actually.
Yeah.
Hi, Frank and friends, says Droopy Dog. Hey, Droopy. Never seen you last night on the football show. It was amazing on the football show last night. Amazing.
I tuned in to see a few comments and stuff.
And Owen says, didn't one of the Kennedys drive a car into the river, killing a young girl and covered it up? Yeah, that was Mary Jo Kopechne. But let me get back to that. That's very important. At Chappaquiddick.
Ted.
Edward Kennedy. Right, let me get back to that, Owen. And Lauren says, "Hi, Droopy Dog." And Droopy says, Ted Kennedy, I saw the look. What's a Droopy say there? I saw the film. No, I'll get back to that. It's a great name, isn't it? Droopy Dog. And Johan says, "True, Mr. Brownie is just the face of a multinational pedo system that is still operating as we focus our attention on Jeff." You see, look, getting back to Mary Jo Kopechne, what was never revealed, he was driving along, he had to go, it was like a bridge, I think it was a wooden bridge or something like that, well, wooden sides, whatever it was, across the expanse of water, Chappaquiddick, the thing. And as he was driving, well, what never came out was that the steering was fixed. So once you go so far, have you ever pushed a trolley, Anthony, in a supermarket? Genuine, it's a genuine question.
Every time, the squeaky wheel and it won't turn. Yeah.
Exactly. And I always seem to get one that turns left.
Yeah.
And you're trying to hold it, you know what I mean, to, put it in a straight line. It always turns left.
Yeah.
And that's what happened to that car. Now, you've got to ask yourself, why was that thing fixed? Do you know why? Because they wanted to kill Teddy.
Yes.
Or, if they didn't kill him, He was only bringing her from A to B. He said, "Yeah, I'll drive her because I'm not drunk or anything." And, so he said, "Okay." And he was driving along and it went into the river. And that girl drowned. And he nearly drowned himself. But that destroyed his presidency, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Because the dynasty of the Kennedys, from JF to Robert to Edward, was there for everyone. And they couldn't have that, not the deep states, not anyone. They couldn't have a clan of Kennedys going right through from JF, John, to Robert, to Edward. So they destroyed Kennedy's.
Were young John.
Well, young John, plane crash, hang on, you know what I mean? Little biplane. And they just say, "Oh, it's the curse of the Kennedys." No, it's a curse of someone making the curse on them, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's so sad, but the Epstein files, or the Epstein, whatever the name is, but they reckon that he's alive. And have you seen the latest photograph of Ghislaine?
See, it could be, but it's like Johan saying, and I'm saying he's not the one. He's not the mastermind stroking the black cat in the background. There's a shed load of these efforts, and they are making money. And what did you say when we spoke on Monday with the great words of Charlotte Bronte? When the importance is in status and wealth,
of money, status and money, and that was against the narrative of the mid-19th century by a woman.
Yeah,
by a woman, a female,
wide open. She's seeing this happen, as Dickens did, as William Blake did.
Well, Blake started it all off, didn't he, really?
Yeah.
He started it all off, with his Songs of Innocence and Experience and his drawings and the Book of Tell.
Yes.
TH, Tell, Hell, the Book of Hell. Brilliant. Love, no one compares to the great man, William Blake. And Frank, next time you're at the shops, ask for a right-handed trolley. So but I always seem to get one that goes over.
I'm the same.
You know the way I am. It's very difficult. And Johan says the Kennedy family has been compromised since JFK was shot. RFK went to the wall and kissed it. I think it's really it's a given right that if you visit. Listen, I was watching Jimmy Dore only last week or at the weekend. No, last week. Or the other day, I don't know when it was. And he showed you a film of Israel and what happens to the Christians there. And only for the film, I couldn't believe it. Getting spat at. And even tourists who go there, they was getting spat at and told to get out, go back, go home. We don't want you there. These are to tourists as well. You should have seen this nun. She was just walking down the street and a gang of fellas, just spitting at it. A nun. An elderly nun, by the way. So you think, don't you, that... well, I know all about Israel. To be honest, I've studied. I studied the Middle East while at university, and all long before all this. And about Lord Balfour, when he gave them that piece of land to the settlers, and he said, if you want to settle there, because they were nomads. Jews have always been nomads, as they said. They were expelled from Russia in the 1880s. They got expelled. We expelled them. Us here, this country. We expelled them, the Jews. So they were getting expelled everywhere. There's a great film out of Barbara Stanwyck, and it was a ship. I forget the name of the film, and it was all the Jews and the Nazis expulsed. Get out, they said, and they're all on this big liner, and they say, we're going to freedom, and you see them passing the great French thing, Statue of Liberty. And they weren't allowed to get off the ship. They didn't want them. These are German Jews. They didn't want them. And then they sailed to England. The same again. They didn't want. No, you're not coming. You're not getting coming ashore. That was the same. Cracking film. I think it was called The Voyage of the Damned or something like that. I forget what it was called.
I'll check it out. Yeah.
Barbara Stanwyck. Do you reckon she was born a man? Barbara Stanwyck. Yeah.
I wouldn't pick a fight with her anyway, but.
Oh, did I miss out on that? Did I miss out on that? And Johan says, that's not Ghislaine. Body double, she's probably with... yeah, I said that. Honestly, I said that. And someone's come out and said that they did a mock-up cell where you see the actual Ghislaine, the real Ghislaine lying on this bed and actually go in the toilet, but it was a mock-up to show people, yeah, she's still here, still in jail, all you people. But it was a mock-up cell. And they reckon that she... See, why did they come for Epstein the night before they were supposed to find him dead and took him away? Then all of a sudden, there was this fella dead. They got a body, but now they've got pictures of that particular body. It was leaked. That's not it. They got that picture of, this woman who's supposed to be Ghislaine. It's not it. What? And as Johan says, that's Ghislaine. That's not Ghislaine. Body double. She's probably with Jeff. Absolutely. Do you think Jeffrey used the pension money, 400 million? It was never retrieved. Of course. See, look, if you're making money out of people and splashing it about, look, it's like Ukraine today. I didn't want to talk about Ukraine, but it's like Ukraine. Why is the war escalating all the time? Why is it? That should have been well and truly over. Because what you've got, there's no Ukrainian soldiers left, so who's fighting the Russians? Just think about that. Anyway, it's a money. The the money that's all going into Ukraine is being laundered. It's coming back. Say if I was like giving loads of money and Anthony was giving loads of money and you chatters was giving loads of money, and I'm talking about millions here. It's all coming back. It's all coming back to you with a massive profit. It's a laundromat. The money's being laundered because, as you know, even before the Russians went in, it was known as the most corrupt country in Europe. Now it's the most corrupt country on the planet. They spit on Christians, yeah, it was a week ago, says Johan. Yeah, thank you. So Johan's seen it. Johan's seen it. And Johan says their Talmud says Jesus is boiling in a vat of oh yeah, and urine. They are Pharisees Jesus warned us about. It's incredible, isn't it?
Sickening.
And Paulo says Spain expelled them in the 1500s. I forget I don't know whether it was Edward or Richard who expelled them here. Get out. So they voted. And did you know that they couldn't hold any profession? Did you know that? And how they made the money, you know, they had to make money, these people. And they took up, believe it or not, sewing. That's how they made the money. You've only got to go back to literature. Do you think that Christopher Marlowe's The Jew of Malta could have been written? Nope. Today? Nope.
No.
Do you reckon that The Merchant of Venice could have been written, Anthony?
No.
No.
Not today.
No. Do you reckon that the likes of Oliver Twist could have been written today?
Would be rewritten today. Put out with a Scouser who's in charge of all the little children. Now, how does that not, in my mind, not relate to Epstein? What's going on? What a coincidence. Hollywood, what a coincidence.
Exactly. Great this. Talmud, says Owen, and the protocols of Zion, explaining quite clearly what we're up against. Be careful what you're saying, boys, please. The Americans and the Dutch forces are keeping the grift going, says Johan. And you wouldn't think that, would you, the Dutch?
No,
Thousands and thousands of Poles have been killed as well, you know. Lots of British have been killed and Americans have been killed, but that's not coming out. So who they're fighting, you know, they say about NATO, oh no, NATO's not in there, NATO is. There's a fellow by the name of Scott Ritter, and he said even a couple of years ago, he said it's what you call sheep tipping. Meaning, you know, if you're American or a British or anyone else, they sheep tip you. And all of a sudden you come out with a Ukrainian uniform on.
yeah.
Seen him a little man comment there. and Brent Browning. How do you measure which country is the most corrupt, and is it empirical methodology? What do you mean? How do you? It's not a matter. It's just you've only got. It's open. It's like saying, how do you know that the hunters, with the the little and the hounds go after the foxes, and they get a fox. How do you know that happens? Because you see it. And you see the corruption. The Western media is so hypocritical, put it that way. Because you can actually read the Western media saying how corrupt Ukraine was before the SMO. Now that everything's great, no, they're not corrupt. And yeah, you've only got to look at what Zelensky's done. He closed everything down, all the opposition. He's imprisoned all the journalists who are against him. Imprisoned them. He's even getting investigative reporters, and he's given them one option. You can either stay in here, rot away and die in jail, or you can go to the front in a uniform. And if you don't see anyone being dragged off the street, Brent, dragged off the street. I always remember someone said, but that's it. It's not it. It's in Russia, that, obviously. Shut up, you fool. Dragged off the street. All over Ukraine to throw them at the front line. Is that corruption? Of course it is. Why is millions fled Ukraine, and not in an orderly fashion, by the way? That's how you find out. I was another thing, Brent. The likes of Zelensky. How come he's got billions? How come he can afford property all over the world? Thought about that? How? You know that it's corrupt, because even the Americans have said they chased that fella all the way to Israel, haven't they? With $100 million in his back pocket. Shylock, they called Shakespeare an anti-Semite. Of course they would. They called Christopher Marlowe as well. You can't say nothing. You've only got to mention the country, and you're called an anti-Semite. What's that all about? It's all right calling the Germans, isn't it? It's all right calling the Germans, after the war.
Yeah.
But when you read, do you know anything, Anthony, about Operation Paperclip?
Only bits, and mainly through talking to yourself.
See, I'll do that one week, Operation Paperclip, because it's very important of what's going on today.
Yeah.
And that was to get Nazis out of. Nazis I'm talking about. Nazis out of Germany. And you're talking thousands.
Yeah.
And they came here, they went to Canada, and they went to America.
Yeah.
Some went to South America as well. But, that's another thing. Nazis. Think about it.
Yeah.
We'll do that one day, 1 week. There was a unified nation of Spain until the 18th century, when the 5 Catholic monarchs unified under the constitutional republic. That is anachronism to use the term prior to that. I don't know what you're talking about Catholics for. It's a totally different thing what we're talking about, Brent. Totally different, mate. Slot and Ten Hag are in the Epstein files. Yes, it wouldn't surprise me. Catholic monarchs fought each other as much as they fought the Moors and the thing. Yeah, we know. I don't know what you're getting. I don't know what you're getting. I really don't. But talking's entirely different. But entirely different, mate. And Mick Gonzo says, is Anthony's background real?
Yeah.
It is real, honestly. I've been in there.
This is me den.
This is 10 as well. And Johan, to Brent, there was no unified nation of India till 1947, but we recognise that the culture was always present in the subcontinent, don't we? There you have it, Brent. Polo, the Western media class BBC, Guardian, turn a blind eye to everything. Mandelson, Epstein, grooming, Gaza atrocities, Ukraine gravy train. It's staggering, says the Polo.
Yeah.
It is.
Your loved ones and your kids safe and by you.
It is. And Brent again, how do you define corruption, and do all modern nation states fit the criteria? Not all. But there's corruption in this country. Corruption goes on everywhere. But when you look at the likes of Ukraine, for example, that's an open. It's open. You don't even have to have an open mind. You don't even have to have, a little tiny brain cell to find out that it's corrupt. And Mick says, I wish I had a den like Anthony's. Looks boss. Yeah.
Thanks, Mick.
And Brent says, the comments in chat were discussing so-called Spanish. When? I'd like to. Spanish history. So I was interjecting some historical for crap and giggles. Fucking hell. And Johan says to Brent, at least the cannibal pedos in charge are allowed to be called vile, right? You don't know what Brent comes out with wonderful comments that really you can't decipher, because we weren't talking about so-called Spanish and Catholics. We weren't talking about them. We were following a conversation. And I don't know where the Catholics came in. Did you mention Catholics, Anthony?
Not tonight. A couple of weeks ago we did.
Does anyone on the chat mention Catholics?
No.
Does anyone on the chat mention the Spanish? Unless we mention Barcelona and Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid, if you know what I mean. But I don't think we did.
No, don't think we did tonight, no. Or even the Spanish Steps for John Keats.
The Spanish Steps. I was looking at them today. I was looking at them and I was excited because I've walked the Spanish Steps. I've gone up them, come down, I've gone up them. And, you know, when I've looked at Bernini's Baraccia, La Fontana Baraccia, and it's brilliant, you know, a boat.
Yeah.
You know, it's a fountain. And I'm looking at it, and on the right, at the bottom of the Spanish Steps, you have Keats's home. And on the left, at the bottom of the Spanish Steps, you have Percy Bysshe Shelley's home.
Shelley's.
And what they used to do, they used to get up and go into the middle and just sit down on the steps and chat.
Classic. That paints an immediate picture in your brain.
Exactly. Just shows you though, doesn't it? You know, the likes of when I was looking at it today, and I've been inside both of them. But every time I have visited Rome, and I've been lots of times, and then, you know, you just go in again into Percy Bysshe's home. You know, it's a museum, and you go into the great Keats's as well. And you look around and you see his works, you know, you see his writings, and it's incredible, Anthony.
It must be so.
If it's a bucket list.
Yeah. Well, Katie wants to go there.
Tell her she has to. And she has to go to the Spanish Steps and to visit the great Keats's museum, and also Percy Bysshe Shelley's home as well, because they're both museums right at the bottom of the steps. They were neighbours. And you get these two greats, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sitting talking. Incredible people.
They were both admirers of each other's work, which was wonderful. Given that the so-called academia in England didn't really give Keats the time of day, but the likes of Shelley and even Bardem did, and others, you know. Just again,
I just become self-aware of lots of people, lots of them, and some people try to, you know, like change the subject matter. They just change it to try and, you know, say like we're talking about, let's say Thomas Hardy, for example. Someone says modern day writers, I forget who it was, and I do apologise. What's your modern day writers? Not really. If you could say modern day writers, I'd say the likes of, um, I have to say, John Steinbeck, for example, modern day. Um, but there's a few more as well. Believe it or not, who I liked, and I had every book of this, was Dennis Wheatley. Have you ever read any of Dennis Wheatley's, Anthony?
No.
He was the occult.
Oh, yes, I have.
Like to the devil a daughter and the devil rides out, and
That's right. Yeah.
I
Years
used
ago.
to,
Wow. 70s, early 80s. Yeah.
you see
Yeah.
what I mean? So modern day, I don't like. I'm sorry, but I don't like these girly ones. What's her name? That Mills and Boone thing. And that's for gentle reading. What was her name? She she wrote, "Man, rich boy loves poor girl, and rich girl loves poor boy." It's the same cycle that you're reading all the time.
Yeah.
I forget who it is, unfortunately. Well,
Going back to the Austins.
yeah, it goes right back. Yeah, it throws right back. It's a throwback to the Austen, yeah, to Jane Austen. That's the way it is, anyway.
It is. I I I found it quite um, liberating to read some of again going back a few years, Charles Bukowski,
Yeah, Bronson.
because some of that was quite powerful, and you don't expect to turn the page and you know read some of this, which I found quite, for me, quite liberating. Because as you're describing, there's a series of Mills and Boone structured, you know, boy meets girl, buy a big house, boy dies, meets another boy, and it's like,
Right. Johan says to Brent, at least the cannibal pedos in charge are allowed to be called vile, right? And Brent says, Polo and Owen did in chat. Is that the Spanish? Okay. Brent mentioned unified nation of Spain in his comment, says Johan. And Johan says, why get offended when I wasn't arguing? No one's saying you did. Just spoke some historical content in line with the discussion. It wasn't discussion though. I can't I can't say that it was discussed, Brent. I can't say that it was discussed. Spanish Catholics. Fucking hell. And Johan to Brent, imagine if you get expelled from 109 pubs. Is it the pubs' fault or your behaviour that needs to be questioned? There you go. There you go, Brent. There's your answer, mate. Nothing. No one's arguing, but you just went off the subject of what we were talking about, unfortunately. Totally, totally right down a different path. It's the way it is. And You know, we just try to do a gentle stream about literature, about history. I'll ask you the question, Brent. Talmud, yeah, so that's what I was responded to. But you never met, you were just going on about Catholics and, being battling each other and whatever, different countries. And, you can talk about the First World War, it was a big royal thing, with Russia, with Germany, with this country, Britain. They were all arguing. It was a big royal debate, and everyone went to war. But the seeds were well and truly sown. We have spoken about the Reformation, but we're not going to go through that again. You missed out on it. So you see, it's all, whatever. Can I ask you, Brent, about Ukraine? What do you think of Zelensky? I'm not scrolling back for you or anyone, Brent. It takes up too much time. Anyway, I can't scroll right up. It just stops. So, Brent, question for you. Zelensky, is he corrupt or what? Just answer that question. And do you believe in what's going on? And I'm not going to mention the word, the terminology, but do you believe that's going on in Gaza? Answer those two questions, please. Is Zelensky corrupt? I could ask you a load of questions, and I'll see where you're coming from, actually. Yes. Well, that's good. I'm glad that you recognise this fellow who's a penis playing piano freak. Did you know that he used to do that, Anthony?
That was his thing, wasn't it? Yeah.
In high heels.
Yeah.
In high heels, and we're saying, there's 5.1 million children below the poverty line in this country, and we're sending them millions. We've sent them billions.
We have.
Sending them billions now because we can't afford really billions again. But we pledged, signed a contract and everything.
Yeah.
For 100 years to be giving them money, millions.
Yeah. For this whole entourage of high-ranking, right-wing men and women to get off with suitcases full of hundreds of millions.
To Israel. To Israel. I was listening to Putin, and he actually said, when the war is over, we've identified the people we want to put on.
For war crimes.
War crimes. They've identified them.
Yeah.
They've identified them. And yet what you get is the Western press saying that there's war crimes being committed by Russia. There's a place called Bucha. 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 And you've seen bodies lying all over the place, Anthony, in Ukraine, and it was shocking. And the media was, the news, the telly, everything, in the papers, saying, the Russians did this and look what they did. Until there was a witness, and he was a French reporter, and he went to the United Nations. But it wasn't just him. There was a few witnesses, and this French reporter, gave a statement out to the United Nations, saying that Booker was planned and done, carried out by Ukraine. They were bringing bodies from different places and just laying them out everywhere, and then blame the Russians.
Like a Hollywood movie.
It's like you can't make these things up. But the Western press made them up to blame Russia. And I was listening to Piers Morgan, and he was talking to Professor Jeffrey Sachs. And I was surprised that Sachs, actually, because Morgan said, the war crimes, what about Booker? And this was only last week. And Jeffrey Sachs never even mentioned Booker, that it was debunked. It was debunked at the United Nations, that it wasn't Russia, that it was the Ukrainians who did this. Brent says, I agree with your sentiments on the subject. Thank you. Appreciate that. So you see, look, I've got to get back to literature. I really have, because as I'm sorry, I do apologise about not wanting to know about, modern day
literature.
Yeah. Who would you say? I tell you, poets, yeah. The great fella I've had a drink with, poet laureate.
That's exactly what came to my mind. Yeah. One of the greatest Irishmen of modern times.
When he said, would you like a drink? He said, do you go for a drink? And I went, yeah. He said, would you like to go for a drink with me? And I went, yeah. Just a poet laureate.
Yeah.
Seamus, go on.
Mr. Heaney.
Seamus Heaney. None other than.
Brilliant.
You look at these people who, these great poets, and modern day I'm talking about. Modern day. And like the likes of Seamus Heaney. And what he brings in is like the troubles that was going on in Northern Ireland at the time.
Yeah.
Who was the fella who used to play the flute?
James Galloway. James Galloway.
Yeah, right. He says one of the most funniest things I've ever heard in my life. One of the most, and he was like it's happened.
Yeah.
He got off the train in Dublin, right? And he had no money on him. And he ran over to this bank, and it was shut. And, he was banging on the door because he was desperate. He said it had just shut about 50, I was 15 minutes late. He said I was banging on the door, and this window went up and went, "What's your man?" He said, "I need some money." She said, "How much do you need?" And he said, whatever, the euros or what, I don't know what it was then. And she said, "Well, just hold on a minute." So anyway, she goes, say like I'm just saying this, say like it's 20 quid or whatever. And, she closed the window. She came back. She lifted the window up. She said, "What's your name?" And he said, and she went, "It's £20 then. And come back tomorrow and make sure that you come back and give him 20 quid." He said it only happens in Ireland.
Oh, beautiful. Love it.
The man with the flute. Brilliant. I love, I listen to him saying that, and you just. And Johan says the Green Goblin wants regime change in Iran and meeting the fake prince in Munich. Yeah, seen that. I've seen it. What's Iran got to do with Ukraine? You can't make these things up.
Because it's the people who are pulling the strings and the puppets, isn't it?
And James Galway has a platinum flute. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And Vladimir Zelensky has a golden toilet. You know that, Anthony?
Oh, I can imagine.
Toilet.
I can imagine.
He has it made. Did he get the money to get a golden toilet? You know what I mean? He's not corrupt.
Go back to Charlotte again.
Yeah.
Status, money, all important.
It's one of the most obnoxious things. It's one of the most obnoxious things when you come to think about. When you come to think about it. Yeah, I'll read it out. Can I read it out?
Yes.
I'll have to get it. I don't know where it's gone. Nope. It's not there. No. 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 I don't know where it's gone. Oh, I don't know where it's gone. Oh, bloody hell. Oh, I know where it is. I know where it is. Looking on the wrong bloody one. I'm looking on the wrong one. But if I read this out again, it'll give you some idea of what it's all about. It really is.
And what's not changed.
And what hasn't changed in any shape, way, or form. I can't find it. Oh man, I can't find it, unfortunately. And it's, and you know what? I think I've got every book under the sun, and I haven't got that one. And I could just open it and read it, which is a shame, really. I can't find it. Somewhere here. Somewhere here. And just can't find it. I got hacked, Do you know?
Well,
a message came up and it said, "Dad, this is my new number. Put it in your phone."
Scam.
I just said, "Okay." And 10 minutes later, I get a phone call. And I said to Francine, "I thought you were ringing me on your new number." She said, "What new number?" I said, "I got a text saying, about a new number." She said, "You're being hacked, Dad." Oh, fuck. So I had to delete it. I don't know where it is, unfortunately. Is this it? No. Yeah, there's something. I'll read this out. And it's only, like I'm going back to around 1790 odd or 1801, something like that. And it's what you call the vice of pauperism. And you know what? I haven't got my reading glasses on. So I'll try and read it out anyway. And it's by a Reverend Malthus and a Reverend, and this is his philosophy.
Yeah.
And he gathered around, the poor, all the poor, and the poor thought, oh, we'll get something to eat. We'll get something to eat. Because he's a reverend and he's called us, like to the flock. Don't forget that the poor weren't allowed to go in churches, Did you know that, Anthony?
Yeah, only through you telling me, yeah.
Yeah, they weren't allowed to go in churches. Anyway, I hope I can read this. Oh, no, I'll just go and get me reading glasses. I'm awfully sorry about this, people. I can't read. I should have brought them in. I didn't think I was reading anything. I'm awfully sorry about that. But just let me read you this. And it sums everything up, even about today. It really does. Right. By the Reverend Malthus. Law of population demanded the total abolition of all the present parish laws. You're talking between the 1790s and the 1800s, just 1800s, 1801. And he says to these people, we grant you poor the right to exist. Think about that. We grant you poor the right to exist. But only to exist. The right to multiply you have not, nor the right to exist as befits human beings. You are a pest, and if we cannot get rid of you as we do other pests, you shall feel at least that you are a pest, and you shall at least be held in check, kept from bringing into the world other surpluses, either directly or through inducing in others laziness and want of employment. Live you shall, but live as an awful warning to all those who might have inducements to become superfluous. How about that?
Hate speech.
And that's from a reverend. And
Yeah.
it's only what the beautiful, wonderful Charlotte Bronte said.
Yeah.
And I just wish that I could find it. And I can't bloody find it. And it just sums everything up. I'll try and get it before. Is that it? No, fuck. No. Just writing. Look, it's a bloody shit. I haven't deleted it. I'm sure I haven't deleted it. I am. Got it? Got it? Now, think of what Reverend Malthus said. Say it's 1800, right? And what she says, I was born in 1820, a harsh time of change in England. Money and position seemed all that mattered. Charity was a cold and disagreeable word. Religion, too, often wore a mask of bigotry and cruelty. There was no proper place for the poor or the unfortunate. Does that sum up what Reverend Malthus said?
Yes.
And that was written, say, 51 years later.
Yeah.
And how long, I just mentioned about, children being below the poverty line, millions, and yet there's money being sent to one of the most corrupt countries on the planet. Well, not one, it is now the most corrupt country because of the MIC, the military complexes. They're making more money, and they're making more money for the likes of senators and congressmen back in the USA. And also here, by the way. I'm just... Isn't that brilliant?
It's brilliant.
How they connect.
Yeah. Yeah.
How they connect.
Was our modern day William Blake. And we've got great songwriters. What?
Who? What did he say? I'm sorry.
Was our modern day William Blake.
Oh.
We have songwriters come close. But
well, he was a better songwriter than John Lennon.
Not many. I mean, you have the wonderful... it's horrible to say, but less well-known people, like in America, you got people like Ray Cooder, who will always sing for the underdog. Over here, we've got Billy Bragg, we got Bob Dylan. We still got One Eye Out, and I think that's replaced a lot of poetry and literature because it's hitting an immediate bigger audience. I mean, Lennon, first thing that comes to mind is, as soon as you're born, they make you feel small, giving you no time instead of it all.
And there you have it. Oh, Teresa Maria. Evening, Frank. Hiya, Teresa. Teresa, I'm awfully sorry I haven't been in touch with you, sweetheart. Always want to know about your lad. See how he is. I seen a picture of, if you're still with us, that is. I seen you there at Christmas, putting a picture up and that, which was lovely. She's a lovely girl, is Teresa Maria Fitzgerald. I wonder where her roots come from, Anthony. Teresa Maria Fitzgerald.
It's either Rome or Jarrett Gardens, isn't it?
Yeah. Or Douglas. Will that be yourself I'm talking to? Can I borrow £20, please? Incredible. And Brent says the lives of Boris and Gleb are foundational 11th century hieroglyphic text in early Russia literature chronicling the murder of the first Cleven's Russian saints by their brother, and during the succession crisis. Well, thanks for that.
We were just saying the same thing, Brent. Thank you.
Just going to talk about that. We won't. Just told us. And Polo says there were many great writers in England after Henry VIII. He banned poor people from the church, school, and universities. Only Dickens and Shakespeare were the exceptions. How about that from Polo?
Yeah. Yeah. Brilliant, Polo.
And seems like he saw them as Amalek, as the Israelis called the Palestinians. You just wonder, don't you, about certain things and certain, countries. I can't believe that. I'm being honest here. I can't believe that. I still can't believe that some people believe in propaganda. They just. I call them the soap opera people. They just love soaps. They believe in soaps rather than reality. If you know what I mean.
Did you? And it comes in different levels, isn't it? There are those of us who are so battered and weary of modern life, whether it be a crap job, low pay, struggling to get on, that you literally can't take on anymore. And there are those that say, I need to know why I'm in the position I am. And the soap opera life has always been there, and long before we had soap operas. But again, soap operas came about because of the need to put adverts in the middle and make money on the back of someone, even those who've got no money.
Well, that's right, isn't it? You mentioned Dickens about, listen, you'll have to write a better story next time. But that applies to everybody. I remember, on a personal basis, I went to give a talk at the town hall, and this fella said to me, he was a lovely, don't get me wrong, he said, we had to talk, he said, we had a guest, he said, and he was awful, he said, do you think, I said, do you think you could do better than him? And, I didn't know this other fella, I never had a clue who he was. And someone said to me, do you think you can do better than him? And I said, I don't know the man. And I don't know what he spoke about. And you'd expect me to go in there and talk to like 240 lawyers, hoping that I'd be better. And this is what I used to get, a few times people have said that to me. Will you, we're made up that you've come along. Because, the last few times, the last few weeks, we've had terrible people in, ones doing crochet, one talking about ducks, believe it or not, ducks and geese. And I said, well, why'd you lie? You see?
Yeah.
So it's, as I said, I've gone in, done what I've done. They like to, rather than talk about geese and ducks and crochet and whatever. But what I did give them, I gave them a sort of philosophical overview of the country, but present day country, if you know what I mean,
Yeah.
and the North and South divide and
Yeah.
what was happening. I said, and it's just not here. It happens all over the globe. Divides in countries.
Yeah.
I said, it just doesn't happen here. So I gave that sort of talk, and then I was told afterwards, by the fella who hired me. He
Yeah.
said, that was a bit heavy, wasn't it? And I went, well, I don't know. You wanted me to give some historical significance and whatever, a philosophical view of how the country is being run and how some parts of the country are downplayed while others are, highly given everything, more or less. And anyway, people enjoyed it. That fella then, the fella said to me, he said, oh, I didn't realise it was that good, I said, did you listen to it? He said, no. He said, I had to go somewhere. I said, well, why did you come back and say it was heavy if you never listened to me? He said, because he said, oh, I pointed at some fella and he was standing there like that. Bit heavy, that.
That's the other problem we have. You say the soap watchers, but there's people who will say, "Oh, okay, Frank, don't mention religion, don't
No.
mention politics,
Football."
You want me to talk about history."
And Johan says, that was a bit heavy, wasn't it? Should be our sign off line. Johan, honestly, Johan, I'm not being funny, but I've gone to some places and they've said, what are you talking about? And I've told them, and they go, I thought you were going to talk about such a thing. I said, well, I didn't know, but I'll talk about this instead. And they go, I don't get it. You know what I mean? So, and
Yeah.
this is before I get up to talk.
Yeah.
I went to the very first cycling club in the world was here in Liverpool. And this fella invited me along, as I said. And there was Chris Boardman there, and other, Olympians, all cyclists. And, people from different clubs, cycling clubs and whatever. And I'm just sitting there like that. He says, and our speaker for tonight. And I was waiting for the speaker. I thought it was going to be Chris Boardman, talking about the Olympics and the gold medal and everything. I was just sitting there. And it was me. I didn't know that I was giving a talk. I thought I was just going along for it, to be like as a guest and have a meal and listen to Chris Boardman. But no, the speaker was me. Never had a clue. Another time I was in the lift with this girl at St. George's Hall. It was chock-a-block. And I said to her, she had a little clipboard, she said, how is it? I said, oh, it's all right, And I'm going up in the lift to the concert room. And I said to her, what am I talking about today? And she went, don't you know? I said, no. She said, you're talking about the First World War. I said, oh, okay then. And she said, where's your notes? Haven't you got notes? I said, no, don't have notes. I panicked. So you know what you're talking about. Yeah. But it's things like that make the world go round, Anthony.
It does make the world go round. I don't like um, the speaking aspect. Although I've done it a lot of times with the work and um, exhibition openings and things. There's one particular handing over of a portrait that we weren't going to go, and then someone said, "No, you got to go. You got to go." And we went to, remember that lovely little pub, the old post office, School
Yeah.
Lane,
Yes.
when Stan and Mary had a lovely couple. So we went in there, and I said, I need a double grouse." She said, "What's it for?" She said, "They want me to give a speech, hand over the painting, but I don't want to do it." And he said, "Okay, well, have a few of these, then you won't have to do it." So we had a few more, and a few more, and we staggered from School Lane to Matthew Street to where I thought it would all be over, and we were just going to go in and say, "Oh, sorry you missed it all. Nice to see you all. Bye." Because we were sozzled. I was absolutely Seamus Heaney. I was absolutely Seamus Heaney.
Was
And
it
I
in
walked,
back?
and
Was it in place of Buckley?
he put a light on and said, "Here he is. Round of applause. He's going to get up now." And I, I couldn't walk. This is in the days when we could walk. My God, I don't know what I said.
You know, when it's a complete surprise, and as I said that night, you know, it was a complete surprise. I thought I just went along for the meal, and there's our guest speaker for tonight, and bang, go. It's like what Johan says there, look. So you were there for business and pleasure without knowing what business would be involved exactly. That's fair of us.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
all as I want really is to you know I've got to go about my spinal cord next week, haven't I?
yeah,
And I just hope that I can be fixed. I really do because, and I just want this pain to stop as well. You know that,
yeah, of course.
and I
And it
just
will,
want. Yeah, but I'm seeing two fellas. I didn't. I don't know. They could be female. I just don't know. One is a neurosurgeon, and the other is a spinal cord specialist.
have you had the scan yet for it?
Um, do you know what? No, and I just don't understand. You know, they said you've got to have this scan, but I think I'm going to see these two. I might have it on the day. I don't know. I don't know, Anthony. They might just say, "Listen, we want you to have this scan. Give me the rundown of whatever they want to do if it's favourable, and then send for me again."
Yeah,
Because I really want to. I want to go away. I,
yeah,
I paid for everything, you know, for Francine and my little granddaughter Sophia
yeah,
to go to Verona. Well, it's Lido di Eslo, then for Verona. I want to take her to see Juliet's balcony.
yeah.
Or I might have to just say, cancel that and bring her down Bowl Street to show her the original Juliet's balcony. What do you think? Do you think she'd be pleased?
Oh, think, think big. Man, you're gonna do it.
Well, Brett says, morality comes from. Oh, fucking hell again. Look at this.
False.
I have to put my glasses on. I hate changing my glasses, you know. Morality comes from mythos, whereas ethics comes from logos. Hang on, ethics comes from Hence why oligarchs control the myths and logics via institutions, that is, art, stroke, media, and education, aka propaganda. Cracking comment, though. That's a cracking comment. That's brilliant, though. And it does.
Yeah.
But you own the institutions of everything, don't you? I'll tell you now, Brent. My old professor, he said to me, "Listen," when I had to do a paper, he said, "Listen to me." He said, "You break down the walls of propaganda." He said, "When you break them down," he said, "you come to a wall, and written on that wall is truth." And it's only what Leo Tolstoy said. History would be a wonderful thing if it was true, because that's all we read is propaganda. In the Western, I'm talking about today. I'm talking about today. There's lots of propaganda against a certain country. But then again, that certain country for hundreds of years have been hated for some reason. And you have it today. But that's another thing. Anthony, can I phone you after there, please? It's important.
Yes.
Okay. After the
No,
cup of tea, I'll let you get a little glass of grouse.
the little one or the big one?
Well, I'll get a big one.
Okay.
Anthony, I'm doing. If you'd like to come on, do you know on Friday?
Yeah.
If you're not gallivanting around town, hitting all the pubs and clubs and things, even Laney. Um, I'm doing about UFOs.
Okay.
Do you fancy coming on?
I'll get back to you on that. I'll get back tomorrow because I'm not sure where we are supposed to be somewhere one day this week, going visiting. So it might be an issue to get back for like a 7 o'clock. But I will let you know.
No, well, all right, we'll leave it, and I'll do it. And when I do UFOs again, I'll have you on. Because don't be worrying. You might be rushing around and whatever, so don't be worried. And Brent says I had a spinal fusion 30 years ago, and the tech has improved. That's a great thing, that, because when I went for the MRI about 4 or 5 years ago now, they said to me, because what happened to me 30 years previous, they said, this lad said to me after the MRI, he said, the tech now has improved in 30 years. He said, and it'll just do you. He said, your quality of life will go up notches. And I've been waiting for 4 years for this, Brent. But I'm glad you said that. The current procedural healing time is like 3 weeks, whereas when I had it, it took 3 months. Wish you well, bud. Thank you, Brent. I really appreciate that. Isn't that incredible? Like, here's me going for, and he's had one.
Yeah.
He's had one. Freaking hell. It's brilliant, that. And your answer, Brent, Rothschild's Ashkenazi nation of Israel is a prime example. So we're going from spinal cords to geopolitics from the likes of William Blake, Dickens,
Yeah.
Charlotte Bronte.
Anything.
Do you know, there's a great, where is it? I'll finish on this. Don't know where it's fucking gone. Don't know where it's gone. Oh, for fuck's sake. I'm useless, you know, Anthony.
Yeah.
Useless. Oh, fuck. I just can't see it at all because the lighting in here is absolutely terrible. Oh, do you know what I wanted to give you, Anthony?
Well,
Oh, there it is. I wanted to give you this.
it's not with P45, is it?
I wanted to give you that. I forgot. Liverpool's
Heritage.
Heritage Walk.
Wow.
All about it because I'm in here. It's good, you know. I meant to give you it. I forgot. I think one of your girls would love it, you know. I think she would. You know, either Katie or Emily.
You know they both would. Yeah.
Oh, do you know what? It's a fucking shame. Did you ever like Dylan Thomas?
Which,
Dylan Thomas, the poet.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And, you know, as one of the lads said, you know, but it's only poets that I liked, really. You know, the likes of, as I said, Seamus Heaney.
Yeah.
Philip Larkin as well, fantastic. Ted Hughes, another poet laureate. And I was looking for something the other day, and I found this. Meant to show you this. Old Liverpool, and it's a shilling. A shilling. And it's all old Liverpool.
You can't
You know,
give
the audience.
get Jason to take some photographs and put it up.
Yes, I will.
Are they?
Yes. And there's the Wishing Well, believe it or not.
Wall Street?
No, it's up by Crosby. And what
Oh,
it is, you see the people, you know, women especially, and they're all waving to the ships, to their, you know, loved ones, the sailors going away. You're talking the 18th and 19th centuries, and there's a well there, and it's a wishing well that they will come back. And there it is.
that's
For the
brilliant.
will. The wishing well.
That's fantastic. Wow.
And I wanted to talk about it, you know, because it just doesn't apply to Liverpool. It applies to everywhere. It applies to all over. Yes, great pictures. Old Liverpool, shilling.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
I don't know. I don't know when it was published. It doesn't say.
What is there someone collated it, Frank?
No.
Was it just a generalized?
The Daily Post Printers, Wood Street, Liverpool.
Okay.
Wood Street. Well, funny enough, if you go down Wood Street, right,
Yeah.
what you'd see there, Anthony, is a building that used to be the Mercury, which became the Liverpool Echo, and on top of the building, at the side of it, that is, you've got the Liver Bird and the Liverpool crest, the city crest,
Yes. Yes.
down there, down on Wood Street. So that's where that's come from. It's
Wow.
been printed there. That must have been around the turn of the century, that.
Yeah. Would have been. Yeah.
1900s or something like that.
Yeah.
Right, I'll just finish off with these wonderful people. And Prince says, see, it wasn't me this time, and laughs. No, no, of course. And medicine, geopolitics, and drone technology, we do it all. This was a British show, by the way. Take care, legends. Frank and Mr. Brown, I'd like it if you look into this. Freud was a cokehead. Freud.
Okay. More than likely was.
A cokehead.
We shall discuss that on Monday if we're lucky, or Tuesday or Wednesday.
Do you know what, though? The opium dens here. And you wonder if any of our great poets, and I'm talking from the likes of Percy Bysshe, if you know what I mean,
Yeah.
could have been having a thing at anyway. That's another thing for another time. And Anthony, I'll give you the ring. I'll just make myself a cup of tea, and it
Yeah.
won't be long, honestly. I
All
just
right.
want to make a cup of tea. I'll give you the bell. And I just want to thank these wonderful people who sponsor the podcasts. Get Peyton, please, people, get them in. Get Peyton Services, the fully time served lads, the fully insured, just in case anything goes wrong. The first class, believe you me, they are first class. They're in and out, whatever way you want it. If you're an NHS worker, if you're an elderly couple or just an elderly person on your own, please don't struggle. Get these lads in and you get a special discount. And honestly, people, if you don't fit into those categories, I'm telling you now, get them in to give you a price without any obligation whatsoever. The wonderful people, and they sponsor all the podcasts. And I'm having a night off tomorrow night because Anthony said I need a rest. So I said, okay, I need a rest. And I'll be back Friday. And most probably I'll be talking. I've got to say this properly, I've got to say this properly because Johan will have murder with me. UAPs, right? I'll be talking about UAPs.
UAPs as opposed to OAPs.
And yes, and UFOs. He said,
Yeah.
don't call them UFOs, the UAPs. I said, oh, okay, then you want UAPs. So we'll be talking about them. I'd love you to join me because there are some things, that really need to be said. Really. And Johan, there are opium dens in Jaipur, operational since the 19th century. Just say, go away. Go away.
Okay.
No, you wouldn't think that, would you?
No,
Go
no.
away. That's incredible, that. India, of all places. Wow. Take care, Frank and Anthony. Great show, says the T. Thank you, TW.
Thank you, TW.
Johan, are we doing UAP for yes, Johan? I never said, I really didn't. I never said UFOs. It was Anthony.
No,
It was you. I said UAPs. Anthony said, no, it's the UFOs. So take no notice of him, Johan.
I did have playtime.
And got it, says Johan. Don't you love our people?
You do.
And Brent says, I didn't know Piccadilly was a den until I saw the news report a few months back when all the heads of state got caught in the act of sniff, sniff. Yes. Yes. Spot on. And on that wonderful note about our little politicians, I've just got to say, Anthony, thank you so much. Got to thank Jason as well for setting everything up.
Yes.
And also, but who do we thank most?
We thank our wonderful chat family, and it is a family for crossing us over the road.
Yeah.
Sometimes
there's only been two ladies on tonight, and that's been Lauren and Lynn Ellis. That's it.
Yeah.
She went and got a shower, didn't she, Lauren? Came back and said, I'm back. Oh, look, Pat, why didn't you mention it before? Thanks for the chat, Frank and Anthony. Thank you, Rapat.
Thank you, Rapat. Thank you.
Lovely. And with that, I'll close and I'll give you the ring. Honestly, I'll give you the ring by 10.
All right. Shiki.
Just give me 10. I've got to take you can't call them painkillers now. What are they? Pain relief thing, pain relief. Got to take one of them. I'm in pain here. Cold, in pain. All the lovely chats. That's honestly, thank you, chat. You've kept us going. And without you lot, there'd be no show. Would they, Anthony? There'd be no show.
No. We've been knocking on Jason's door, seeing if he wants any jobs doing.
Pretending that we're from Gap Painting Services.
Clean your car, mister.
Do you know what, though? Exactly. I was doing a straight line, when I was trying to decorate, doing a straight line. And I went, and I got all excited, before you getting onto the skating board, right? And I was doing it. And as I got that excited, my hands went down like, oh, fuck. Because it was like a reddish colour. And I went on my white skateboard. And I thought, fucking hell. So don't ask me to paint straight lines. You've got to ask the gentleman who's sitting next to me there. Pain relievers, says Johan, it's a joke at this point. Certainly is. It certainly is. And Rapat says, if not for this, I'd be roaming round the streets to see if anyone wants me to go on a message the shop so I could have the chip. Do you know what? That's lovely, that, because I told you, didn't I, Anthony, when this old lady asked me to go for fish and chips. And I ran and got the fish and chips, ran along, fell over. This is when I was a kid, fell over. All the chips and fish went all over, and I picked it all up.
Ah, you can see the poor lady's face. What the?
Give her the, she gave me a tritney bit. Ah, thanks, Mrs. Egger. Oh, Jesus. She died soon after. But anyway, that's another story, and I've got to say thank you, and I'll see you in about 10 minutes, Anthony. Is that okay? Thank you, people. Thank you so much. And I hope to see somebody, or some of you, on Friday for UAPs.
Yeah.
UAPs. I'll make it up. See you tomorrow, Anthony. Oh, yeah, look. Fish and chips with gravel and tarmac could be a classic. Yo, and she died soon after, you know. They had a friend, look, with the little UFO. That is it. Yes, it's a little green man. A little green man. Rapat. I was telling my daughter about going on a message today. She said, what if you don't want to go? I said, I would say I could hear my mum shouting at me. That's true. How true is that?
You did not get a choice.
You didn't. Well, you know, as I was told, if any elderly asks you to go on a message, you go. And I was rushing back to school. And Mrs. Egger said, will you go, and Francis, will you go and get me some fish and chips? I went, okay. Reluctantly, it ran along, and good job it was empty. And I got it, ran along, fell over, but running. Chips and fish went all over the place, got it all, scrubbed it all back, and wrapped it up and ran up and said, yeah, Mrs. Egger. And she said, oh, thanks, Francis. Give me a bit of it. Never forget.
They'll be in the Echo tomorrow.
Anti-mad memories, though. Great memories. And that's it. Thank you, people. Love yous all. Hope to see some of yous on Friday. And I'll leave you with that red path. Wonderful comment. Thank you. Good night. Good night.
Good night, all. Thank you.